Yeah, we'll wait for this. Yeah, and looks like we're live, and welcome to race number 2 of 29 in the 1989 throwbacks with a fresh logo, by the way, even though that's not really a logo, but still. I've got a brand new rating system. This is going to be fantastic. I've really used this hiatus from the throwbacks to really hone in on a really good rating system. I'm hoping that this turns out to be much, much better than what I was doing before. Here you can see what the points standings look like after one race, the Daytona 500, which Geoff Bodine won in spectacular fashion. And Brett Bodine unfortunately had the win cut out from beneath him, thanks to the incompetent driving of the number 4 of Larry Pearson. Let's go to North Carolina Speedway. Certainly a track where a lot of good things happened. Let's see here who's going to be on the pole for today's race, and it's going to be Terry Labonte. Wow! Oh, and already we're going to see a shocker. Terry Labonte, I think that's his first pole since 1985. No. He got a few poles in 87, but he didn't get any last year. All right, so he got that's right. He got 2 poles in 1987, along with 2 wins. But wow, yeah, Terry Labonte is on the pole for today's race. And man, this should just be a really good race. 123 laps here at North Carolina. We've got Terry Labonte on the pole, Dale Earnhardt in second, Tim Richmond third, Bill Elliott fourth, Ken Schrader fifth, Darrell Waltrip sixth, Rusty Wallace seventh, Ricky Rudd eighth. How about Kyle Petty starting in ninth, and Phil Parsons rounding out the top 10. Your Daytona 500 winner, Geoff Bodine, he'll be starting 14th. So this is, well, that camera's not going to work, so this should be an interesting way to kick off the non-super speedway section of this season. I think I cut right over the command. Whoops. Don't want to be doing that, but I cut right over it. Nothing I can do about it either. If I cut over the command, I cut over the command. That's just what happens. Anyways, the pack's going to come off of turn number 4. Here they come to the line at this 1-mile oval. The green flag is out here at Rockingham. And it ought to be an interesting race. Terry Labonte looks like he's going to take the lead coming up off of turn number 2. Tim Richmond will fall into second. Dale Earnhardt coming into third. Lap number 1 looks like it's going to go to the 11, Terry Labonte. And here we can see the battle for 4th. Ken Schrader is going to come down to the inside lane. He'll take that away from Elliott. And now Ken Schrader, someone who's really putting up at least a decent early part to the season, had a decent showing in the Daytona 500. And now up here, got a top 10 qualifying position. He's up into 4th here in the early going. Now we got a battle for 2nd here. Dale Earnhardt versus Tim Richmond. That's pretty much the battle that we've seen the past 2 years. These two have been really, really tooth and nail. I should say the past 3 years, these guys have been tooth and nail. 86 champion, Dale Earnhardt. 87 champion, Tim Richmond. 88 champion, Dale Earnhardt. So it's been really a back and forth battle between these two. Last year probably being the most competitive of the previous seasons, along with Rusty Wallace, who had a breakout season. 7 wins. crazy to see that kind of a breakout season from Rusty Wallace. Which, speaking of that, Wallace is currently in the 6th position. And something that surprises me right now, Kyle Petty with that new team, brand new team, he is in the 8th position right now. So Kyle Petty trying to hang in there, doing a not so terrible job with it. He's got Davey Allison and Sterling Marlin behind him. Those are some good teams there, so keep that in mind. Meanwhile, Earnhardt continues to work here at the 25 car. You can really tell he wants to get around Tim Richmond, but this track can be very, very, very difficult to pass at. It's a very tight groove that you have to run here, especially early in the run. Later on in the run, you can start moving up the track a little bit, but early on in the run, you gotta really run the same line. Here we go, we got a battle for second. Earnhardt coming down to the inside. It looks like he's going to easily take over that position. And Ken Schrader's going to follow Dale Earnhardt through. And it looks like it's going to be a twofer there. Earnhardt's going to go into second. And Schrader's going to go into third. And if Tim Richmond isn't careful, he might lose fourth to Bill Elliott. Doesn't look like that's the case, though. And Richmond will try to at least hold it. And it doesn't look like Elliott got a good run in there. Dove it in way too deep. Had to get up off the throttle. And Elliott just, quite frankly, could not keep up there. Now it's all about what can Earnhardt do here. See if he can run down the 11 car. Looks like he's going to run him down pretty handily here as well. He's really catching up to the 11 car quickly. And you take a look at the fastest laps on the chart. He is second. And here he goes. He's got a peek underneath Terry Labonte. See if we can get a pass for the lead here. Labonte going way up the track, trying to get as good of a run down that back straightaway as he can, down into corner number 3. Dead even. Labonte's still way up the track. Schrader dove it in too deep, trying to get the position as well, and Dale Earnhardt is going to go to the lead here at Rockingham. A track that he has a lot of success at here in the throwbacks. No doubt about it. Him and Elliott are the two people that have really done well here. To everyone's surprise, Rusty Wallace won the Rockingham race. And Dale Earnhardt, not Dale Earnhardt, I'm confusing myself. Last year, the second race this season, the first race here at Rockingham, Rusty Wallace ended up winning that. Bill Elliott won the fall race. So they were the two past winners. But before that, Earnhardt had actually won 3 in a row at this track and 4 out of the last 5. So to see him not win at Rockingham was definitely a bit of a shock, to say the least. This is someone who has just done really, really well here at Rockingham. It's just such a shock to see him not dominate a Rockingham race, but right now looks like he's returning to that dominant form. Here comes Tim Richmond for second. Boy, Terry Labonte and that Junior Johnson squad, it looks like they had really good out of the gate speed, but as the laps have worn on here, it looks like Terry Labonte is really starting to slow down, and they are really starting to slow down according to the juggernauts of Tim Richmond, Dale Earnhardt, Bill Elliott, and Rusty Wallace. Yeah, these 4 drivers, they are the dominators, no doubt about it. Nothing we can do right now other than just sit back and watch. Elliott's going to move swiftly into third. And you can see Rusty Wallace, he's going to move into fourth. And now Terry Labonte's going to have to really work here to not lose a lot more positions. He's going to have to work to make sure that Darrell Waltrip doesn't get around him. Somebody who's really looking for a resurgent season. 1987 and 1988 both treated him terribly, only achieving one win in those 2 seasons, and that one win was at Talladega. After all the dominating seasons that he had with Junior Johnson in the early 80s, when he went over to that number 11, winning the championship in 81, winning the championship in 82, winning the championship in 85. You know, he wins all these championships, wins all these races, and he comes to Hendrick Motorsports, and by God, has he tanked. Like I said, one win in 2 seasons for that 17 squad, and it's just got to feel awful for a almost certain Hall of Fame driver. Just ain't right. If Darrell Waltrip, he'll be right up there, included with drivers like Richard Petty, David Pearson, Cale Yarborough, Bobby Allison. All those guys, Waltrip will definitely be in the consideration for one of the greatest drivers of all time. Meanwhile, lap traffic is starting to get in the way. You can see Rodney Coombs in the way there, and now we have Jim Sauter and AJ Foyt here in the way. Dale Earnhardt continues to pull away. His lead's now 1.3 seconds over Tim Richmond. Him and Richmond are pulling about equal lap times right now. And of course, if Richmond could ever get around the 14 car. And boy, he's really not making it an easy task. AJ Foyt should be a little more forgiving. And now you can see both Terry Labonte and Bill Elliott having a rough time through lap traffic, ending up getting shoved to the outside and having the lap traffic used as a pick in front of their faces. And this is one of the more frustrating things you'll deal with in NASCAR. A 3-wide battle here. Good Lord. That was a risky move there by Terry Labonte. And this is another 3-wide move by Terry Labonte. Labonte making all the moves, and you can see here, this is going to shuffle Bill Elliott to the outer fringes of the top 10, if not completely out of the top 10. As you can see, Harry Gant having a good run there on the inside lane. Elliott will fall to 9th. And Earnhardt's lead is only getting wider. It's up to 2 seconds now as he approaches a pretty much half and half team with Don Levy. I mean, seems like they're running the season 1 year, and the next year they're not running the season. They've got rookie Chad Little behind them. And speaking of rookies, we have a lot of them this season. A lot of rookies. Just none of them in good cars. Yeah, so we'll see how the rookie class ends up working out. But yeah, lots of rookies, none of them in good cars. We'll let you know if we end up coming across any of those said rookies. Right now, though, Tim Richmond has to work extra hard to keep a hard-charging Rusty Wallace from passing him. Richmond right now doing a pretty good job in that 25 car, but man, Wallace is really hounding him down in the 27. Both these guys, they know how to race. They know how to race well. They need absolutely no introduction. Dale Earnhardt, Tim Richmond, Rusty Wallace. No surprise to see them 1, 2, 3, as they were pretty much 1, 2, 3 at least 1 point in almost every single race last season. And they are not disappointing. They are going to pick up right where they left off. No doubt about that. They are not going to mess around this time around. I mean, Qualifying was a bit of a shock, but this race has been everything but. Tim Richmond goes to the outside now, trying to get around Dave Marcus, trying to find anything to get around these lapped cars. Mickey Gibbs, that's one of our rookies there in the 48. As this battle for second continues to intensify here, as Rusty Wallace will get it, and we'll see if Waltrip here can actually pick off Tim Richmond for third, and it looks like he indeed will. So he will pick off Tim Richmond for third position. Now he just picked off Wallace for second. That was a really good move there by Darrell Waltrip, and proves why right now he's still one of the best. Whoa. Some kind of issue there with the 17. He ended up getting onto the apron there, and he ended up losing all of his momentum. Thought that there was a wreck in front of him, but I didn't see anything. No caution. Yeah, that's another big one. No caution. So give Rusty Wallace the second position. Darrell Waltrip in third. Tim Richmond in fourth. Ken Schrader, former Rookie of the Year, in fifth. He ended up getting that Rookie of the Year honors all the way back in 1985. He raced for Don Levy in 86 and 87. Yeah. For 86 and 87, trying to get literally anything done for the team. He had a couple solid top 20 points finishes, but nothing else to show for it. And then he went over to Hendrick in 88, everybody thinking, oh, this is going to be Ken Schrader's big break. He flops, actually finishes outside the top 20 in points. And then you have 1989 where, well, maybe, at least the initial signs are good. Might have a good season brewing here. We'll see. And now the almost universally hated Larry Pearson. Man, I'll tell you what. Fans were not very happy with what Larry Pearson ended up doing to Geoff Bodine in the Daytona 500. You can see he is already scraped up again. And I'll tell you that, well, with that kind of dissension and fan support, you might not see him in that 4 car for much longer. Yeah, I mean, that was just such an unpopular move. You're just, and he seems to just be underachieving too. His 1988 campaign was nowhere close to what he did in the first part of 86 or 87. So underachieving plus dissension and fan support really means that, you know, that will be one of the very many shakeups that'll happen coming to this offseason, because I'll tell you what, there is going to be a lot of shakeups coming up this offseason. No doubt about that. A huge driver switch is going to happen, as a lot of drivers are coming to the end of their contracts. Richard Petty, we still don't know whether he's ever going to retire or not. He might just race forever, who knows. We really don't know. But hey, that's what's going on right now. So Dale Earnhardt continues to lead here at Rockingham. He's putting up a great effort. He ended up taking over the lead in lap 10 from Terry Labonte. And he's had a very strong showing today, no doubt about that. You can see Larry Pearson going by with much fresher tires than the 3 car. And now the question's got to lie in. When are the leaders going to end up making their pit stop? Now that's going to be, this is usually a 2 pit stop race. And the first one's usually a little bit further down the line, but we'll see what happens. 17's way up the track. And the 27, no, I was wrong. The 27's going to be the first to come down pit road. And that's going to force the issue. So we'll see what happens now. The 27's going to get a huge advantage on fresh tires. That's going to force the issue and send everyone else down pit road pretty much. You see lapped cars getting way out of the way of Dale Earnhardt. Earnhardt's going to come to pit road to no surprise. Here comes Waltrip to pit road. Tim Richmond's going to stay out. He's going to opt to collect the 5 bonus points for leading a lap. Rick Mast, a rookie there in the 66. He's going to elect to let Tim Richmond go and lead his lap. And you got to imagine both the 25 and the 11 are going to be diving off into pit road here. There goes the 25. There goes the 11, the 33, the 9, the 26, 94, and 55. And Alan Kowicki. So pretty much everyone else is pitting here. And here was your second place man at the start of the pit stop cycle. Let's see just how much time he ended up gaining on Dale Earnhardt. Look at this. He might beat him out of pit road. And he will. That's how much that one lap mattered. Rusty Wallace is going to come out and take the lead from this pit stop cycle. Well played by the 27. They are very much hell-bent on getting this win back. They won this race last year. They want to win it again this year, no doubt about it. They want to get a really strong footing for 1989 and really go after that championship. This team really called last year a blown opportunity, as they had no DNFs in the first 25 races of the season, and they ended up not finishing 3 out of the last 4 races, and thus murdering any hopes of them competing for the championship. It came down to just Dale Earnhardt and Tim Richmond in the final race, which Dale Earnhardt really handily won. But hey, good pitch strategy sometimes plays off, and now this is, now going back to rookies, here's probably, I would say, is our Rookie of the Year favorite, Hutch Strickland. Him and the driver of the 84, who you'll probably see later on, Dick Trickle, is probably going to be his biggest contender. Well, I will definitely say that Hutch Strickland is probably going to be the favorite for Rookie of the Year this year. Now what? Well, you can see Richard Petty, Michael Waltrip, AJ Foyt, Jimmy Spencer, another rookie, and Jim Sauter there in the 44, another rookie. No, Jim Sauter's not a rookie, excuse me. He's a sophomore. And they're going 3 wide in front of Rusty Wallace here, and they are really making it difficult. Wallace trying to force the issue, and here comes the veteran Earnhardt, 4 wide coming off of the turn, and there goes AJ Foyt. And the 27's going to flip spectacularly down the back straightaway. Good Lord. Into the catch fence. The caution flag will immediately be displayed. And good Lord, the 27's still getting knocked around. Another hit. Wow. That has to be one of the most spectacular crashes I have ever seen at this track. Alright, let's just try to break this down here. Let's just try our best to break this down. So Earnhardt goes down low. That's going to make it 4 wide here coming up off the corner. AJ Foyt just cuts across the 27. He's going to go spinning. Now, the 27, he overcorrects. He jumps into the 43 here. And look at this. The contact between the wall and the 43 will send the 27 flipping wildly down the back straightaway. Enough momentum to take him all the way up into turn 3 and into the catch fence, where he'll get pounded, T-boned by Rick Mast. And you'll see he'll get hit just below the driver twice by AJ Foyt and Harry Gant. And he'll get hit, look at this, right on the driver's side by Ricky Rudd. And that's game-changing right there. Wow. Okay, here's the wreck once again, full speed. We'll see it from a different camera angle this time. And just watch. Look at the height that the 27 ends up getting. It's just absolutely insane. Darrell Waltrip now has the lead at this race, and we are pretty much all just collectively holding our breath and hoping that Rusty Wallace is okay. That was a very, very vicious accident. Rusty Wallace has been rushed to an off-site medical facility from what we understand, and we'll let you know if there's anything, well, severe. We probably won't know by the end of this race, but we'll definitely know for the next time we end up taping the throwbacks. That was still one of the most vicious crashes I've ever seen here at Rockingham. That was just absolutely... I've just never seen that before. Now that's a crash that you would see at Daytona or Talladega or, you know, Michigan, a super speedway. But not something you would expect to see at a short track. What is a short track, basically? Anyways, going back to the race, Hendrick Motorsports 1, 2, 3 is you have Darrell Waltrip, Tim Richmond, and Geoff Bodine 1, 2, 3 to get the green flag. Kyle Petty 4th, Terry Labonte 5th, Phil Parsons 6th, Alan Kowicki 7th, Dick Trickle somehow up into 8th, Michael Waltrip somehow up into 9th, and Mark Martin 10th. So a couple of good luck runs here by Dick Trickle and Michael Waltrip. Alan Kowicki showing, of course, that he is still an extremely crafty driver and knows exactly how to get stuff done. Now, he's won 3 races in this series as an owner driver. He won 2 of them in 1987, 1 of them last year in 1988. He's already won 2 out of the 4 big events in his career. He's won the Coke 600. He's won the Talladega 500. know, he might end up getting a career Grand Slam, something that takes drivers a long time to do usually. So he's got a good shot at actually doing it. He probably won't get a Daytona 500 for a while, but thinking about it, you know, Southern 500 is really a race that anyone can win. Also, it's the Daytona 500. So we'll see. We'll see. You know, all the big four races are really races anybody can win. Alan Quicky's already won 2 of them, so we'll see how quickly it takes for him to win the other 2. Meanwhile, Tim Richmond snatched the lead away from Darrell Waltrip, and he is running away. No surprise. That accident took out Ricky Rudd, obviously, Rusty Wallace, also obviously, Davey Allison, Rick Mast, and AJ Foyt. All of whom, except for Wallace, as we know, are okay to compete for the next race. So everything is okay for now. Here comes Terry Labonte down to the inside of Alan Kulwicki. And Terry Labonte is going to end up moving up into the 6th position. Also, Phil Parsons is knocking on the back door of potentially 2 position gains here. I don't know how much faster he is. Geoff Bodine just trying to get up to a very quick and early points lead here by winning the Daytona 500 and getting himself a top 5 here at Rockingham. These guys are still going to have to pit at least one more time. No doubt about that. So don't think that they're in the clear. They still got to pit one more time. You can see Phil Parsons down low. Easily able to get around the 5. And here comes Dale Earnhardt starting to try to charge through the field again. They were able to repair whatever damage he had from hitting the inside wall on the left side there, going down the back straightaway. Whatever damage he had from that accident is obviously not slowing Earnhardt down at all. He's really charging and he wants to get back up to the lead. Boy, I'm sorry for the lack of commentary here, but I'm still blown away by that Rusty Wallace accent. That is really taking my breath away, and it's really just shocked me. And whoa, look at this! A great save by Geoff Bodine. That was almost a disaster there, but definitely nothing significant. Looked like the 11 just got into the 5 coming off of turn 4. Things happen. Darrell Waltrip continuing to try to hold off Terry Labonte here. Meanwhile, Dale Earnhardt continues to charge through the field. He's back up to the 6th position. But he is 9 seconds down, and at the usual 1/10 per lap gain, he's going to be nowhere close to the lead. He's really going to need some help to get back up to the lead. Probably another caution. Alright, now Tim Richmond is really running away with this race, and it's going to take a miracle for anybody to catch Tim Richmond at this point. Really, Richmond trying to put down a statement, trying to win his second, try to get that momentum well on his way to his second championship. I know it's early, I know it's only the second race of the season, but hey, let's at least keep this win inside the Hendrick family. And they're doing that. They're doing that perfectly right now. They got 3 out of the 4 drivers in the top 4. Top 5, rather. Because here comes Terry Labonte. He's on an absolute tear. And he's doing a great job. Someone who also got lost in the shuffle, so 35 of Ken Schrader. He ended up getting well outside the top 10. He's catching the edge of the top 10 here rather quickly, and he's going to try to make some moves, obviously. Michael Waltrip, Mark Martin, and Alan Kowicki. They're the gates to the top 10 right now. Here comes Schrader down low. Can't quite get to the inside of Martin. Martin drops low on Waltrip. You'll see him smoothly pass by the 30, the 35. Look at this! That's a really aggressive move there by Ken Schrader. He pretty much just said, I'm going to try to punch it through the middle. I'm faster than both of you. Yep, Schrader's broken into the top 10 now. And he just passed Mark. Well, not quite. Martin's really fighting him. And now he's passed Martin for 9. Meanwhile, Morgan Shepherd. Is he on the lead lap? He is. He's going to try to get into the top 10 here. And he will successfully do so. Sterling Marlin. Close behind. He'll move up into 11th if he can get around Mark Martin. I think Martin's going to try to shut the door on him here going into 3 and 4, and he indeed does. But he slips up the track, and here comes Marlin anyways. And Sterling Marlin will move into the 11th position here. Once he slides up in front of Martin, and there you go. Meanwhile, Ken Schrader is on an absolute tear right now. Look at this move on Alan Kowicki. Got him. And Morgan Shepherd's going to blow right by Alan Kowicki as well. Terrible run that he had off of turn 4 there. That's going to take a half a lap to recover from. So Kawicki falling through the field quickly, and meanwhile Dale Earnhardt, to my amazement, is up into the 4th position. He's only 7 seconds back. He's made up 2 seconds. 2.5 seconds. This 3 car is absolutely flying around this track. This definitely isn't the first time Earnhardt's had to come back from adversity, come back from nothing really. But he's going to try his best. Terry Labonte is his next target. I'll tell you what, if Earnhardt can get all the way up into 2nd in this race, I will be impressed. Don't forget, everyone's going to need to pit again at around somewhere in the roundabouts of lap 90 to 95. So keep an eye out for that. If there is no caution. You know, around lap 90, 95, 100, somewhere around there. Here's Phil Parsons going down, around on the inside. And he's on to the back straightaway now. Feeling good. And Terry Labonte dives off into pit road early. I think that's a bit too early. That is really early. Richmond also pulled into pit road. Well, I guess the pit cycle's happening right now, and that means that they'll have to pit yet again. Yep. They'll have to pit yet again inside 10 laps to go. It's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. Meanwhile, Earnhardt's going to soak up some sunshine here. You know, if Dale Earnhardt can actually go out here and stay out long enough to actually make the pit run work, things can get interesting. But there goes Earnhardt making the hard right-hand turn. Left-hand turn. Wow. My right, your left. The Earnhardt making the hard left-hand turn into pit road. What planet do I think am I on? Or I don't even know. But anyways, here's your previous leader, Tim Richmond, and we'll see just how badly Earnhardt gets burned off the pits here. Well, it's a 2-lap process here, so you go to pit road here, you get put 2 laps down. No doubt about it. Here you can see Richmond getting around Ben Hess, a rookie. Oh, Earnhardt, if he's back on the track, he's nowhere to be found. Like I said, I think these guys are going to have to pit within 10 laps to go now. And that makes things really interesting for a race. Well, right now your leader is still the 75 of Morgan Shepherd. I don't know. He's in... Okay, the 75 of Morgan Shepherd is in pit road now. The leaderboard, though, scores Bill Elliott as your leader. Now, here we go. Elliott just out-strategized everyone, maybe. Because he's definitely in the lead. Once he comes across the line here, he should definitely be in the lead. And Tim Richmond's got to run him down. Morgan Shepherd is going to go a lap down. In fact, here comes Tim Richmond, and Elliott's going to pull in the pit road. Oh, he hadn't pit yet. Wow. I don't know if Elliott will be able to swing 42 laps on fuel and tires, but if he can do it, I think the only man that can make it to the end, possibly, is Bill Elliott. So keep your eye on the 9 car at all times. Think about that for a moment. Keep your eye on the 9 car at all times. Now we can see Phil Parsons starting to catch a hung up Terry Labonte here, as Phil Parsons would love to get back into the 2nd position. Just love to finish 2nd. He would love to get up to the lead, obviously, but I don't think anybody's catching Richmond. That's just, he's gone. 5 seconds ahead. He's way out of here. Like, he's seriously completely out of everybody's league. Meanwhile, here, whoa, look at this move by Parsons. And Labonte's going to get hung up by Rodney Coombs in the 89. That was a great move by Phil Parsons. Give that man a checkered flag. Of course, they're not going to give it to him because that's going to be given to the number 25. But, hey, that was a great move by Phil Parsons. And, well, I think he should be rewarded for that. Somewhat. He won't be, though. 2nd place, back to the cellar. Anyways, things have to be said about Rick Hendrick right now because all 4 of his cars are doing phenomenally today. Tim Richmond in the lead, Geoff Bodine 4th, Darrell Waltrip 5th, and Ken Schrader 7th. That is remarkable. Rick Hendrick is doing an excellent job right now. All 4 of his Chevys inside the top 7. The only people that have been able to spoil his parade right now are Phil Parsons, Terry Labonte, and Dale Earnhardt. Probably 3 of the best drivers in the Cup right now. So, if those are the only 3 drivers spoiling you, you are having a phenomenal day at the racetrack. Phenomenal might not even be the word for it. You are having just an extravagant day. Things are just going perfectly right now. We'll see just how perfectly. A lot of these drivers are going to be very, very, very close on their pit runs, and we'll see who's going to be out of fuel, who's going to need to duck down to pit road for gas. I'm telling you, I think Bill Elliott has these guys beat on pit strategy. I really do. I really think Elliott's got these guys beat. Thing is, Elliott's back in 21st, one lap down. It's the only way he's going to win is if all these guys pit. Now, he's got a lot fresher tires than everyone else right now, so he's got to be flying compared to everyone else. Well, let's take a look. Elliott's last lap time, 1:41.337. And you take a look at Tim Richmond, he was a 1:43. So the fresh tires, maybe he's getting hung up by lap traffic, who knows. But the fresh tires on Elliott clearly not showing off. Phil Parsons continues to be an excellent story today as he continues to go for second. Meanwhile, a little bit of a classic rivalry here. Dale Earnhardt and Darrell Waltrip. Even though these two really haven't crossed paths, Earnhardt potentially blossoming into a legend. He's got 3 championships already, but only a fraction of the wins that Darrell Waltrip has. Waltrip with 72. Earnhardt, I believe, has 34 entering into this race. 34, somewhere in the mid-30s, 34, 35, 36. Don't have the number off the top of my head. But if I go look it up on my computer, it's going to freeze. So, I don't want it to freeze. This is a live stream. You guys don't deserve freezing. No way. Now, right now, probably our best bet is to look back here and see what Dale Earnhardt's going to be able to do here. Lap 107, and it's starting to become crunch time. And something that's actually surprising me right now, the 55 is actually reeling in Tim Richmond. It's nowhere near enough to pass him. But his lead was almost 6 seconds long. And it seems like Phil Parsons has been just striking off a tenth of a second, a tenth of a second, tenth of a second every lap. Now that he's in lap traffic, especially behind Geoff Bodine and Bobby Hillin, it's going to be a lot more difficult, but half a second, half a second, half a second. It's been amusing to watch. In fact, he gained a lot of time on Tim Richmond there. Is there an issue with the 25? Well, I guess the only issue might be lap traffic. We'll see, but there might be some kind of significant problem with the 25. This wouldn't be the first time that something like this happened, as the lead's now down to 4 seconds. Is there a problem with the 25? He seemed to pull away there. Oh, I think there's an issue with the 25, and this wouldn't be the first time that this has happened to Tim Richmond. Now the stretch is gained back up to 4 seconds, so maybe there isn't anything wrong with the 25. What we're really going to see is once Phil Parsons is able to clear Bobby Hillin Jr. here and Hutch Strickland, then we'll see what's happening to the gap. And now the gap's starting to go back up. And now we gotta watch. Now we gotta really, really watch. Because, remember, as I said, I think these guys are not going, some of these guys are not going to be able to make it. Earnhardt, who's in 4th now, by the way, might be in an excellent position to win this race. On what I would have to say is a perfectly played pit strategy if he ends up winning. Oh, wow, Richmond just got shoved out of the way by Morgan Shepherd saying, haha, no. Well, now this might be the 55's chance here. He can get around Hutch Strickland in the 57 in this corner. And there goes Strickland. He's going to get out of the way. Now things get interesting. Will pit strategy become a significant factor? Well, it already has, but will this early pitting be a detriment? I gotta say, right now, Elliott's screwed. So whatever pit strategy he was playing, he's done. So maybe it won't come into effect. Everyone pretty much just collectively holding their breaths right now, which is what I would be doing. Especially on the top of that 25 pit box for 2 reasons. 1, are we going to make it on fuel? And 2, here comes the 55. They've been really lax through lap traffic. And someone who has not been lax through lap traffic is the 55 of Phil Parsons. He has been attacking. He has been picking off guys left and right. He has been doing just a fantastic job getting through this lap traffic. And he just wants to get up and go. Coming to 5 laps to go now. If you guys don't have enough to make it to the end, it's really going to show now. Maybe, just maybe, they have just barely enough. Man, you really seemed penny pinching to me to pit that early. Maybe I was just off, I don't know. 4 laps to go. Phil Parsons just seems to be coming through this lap traffic like butter. Tim Richmond is not. Tim Richmond is just having a terrible time. Well, unless a miracle happens, you know, Richmond is going to be winning this race. Now, with 3 laps to go. Well, I wouldn't say miracle. If he runs out of fuel, if he runs out of fuel, it's not going to be good. Oh, here comes Morgan Shepherd to the inside again. 2 laps to go. Don't run out of fuel on the last lap, Richmond. Neil Bonnet kind of let him go there. Maybe it was just going super slow to conserve. White flag. You see, a couple of people didn't play the pit strategy right, so I was close. So I was right. There would be a few people running out of fuel. Here's the 11 and the 3. Earnhardt just passed Terry Labonte for 3rd. And Tim Richmond conserved it perfectly. He's going to come to the line and he is going to win here at North Carolina. An excellent pitch strategy. That one I thought was a bit early myself, but clearly I was wronged. Clearly I was wronged. I was just played to perfection, folks, and that's exactly what needs to be done. So Tim Richmond gets the win. Phil Parsons second. Dale Earnhardt third. How about that comeback? Terry Labonte fourth. Ken Schrader finishes fifth. Waltrip sixth. Sterling Marlin got all the way up to seventh. Kyle Petty eighth. And Alan Kowicki and Mark Martin were both out of top five. Geoff Bodine, after his win, fortunately, he had to come down pit road there at the end. He's going to finish 17th, one lap down. And you can kind of see all the retirees there. So our standings after 2 races shows Dale Earnhardt is your leader in points, the only person to have 2 top 5s in 2 races, and that will definitely boost your point standings. I will have to say, I don't want to say too many early surprises, but how about Jimmy Spencer still maintaining his 10th place points position after 2 races? That's probably going to fall down, but hey, Jimmy Spencer can say he was in the top 10 for 2 races for an underfunded team. Anyways, we'll see you next time for Atlanta here in the Throwbacks.